Can we all do one thing this morning, please? Or this afternoon, this evening, whenever the hell you're listening to this. Can we all just cut the bullshit? For once, for one day, can we put our favorites aside and just call it down the middle and say something is just wrong? I'm about to travel over 2 state lines, a long journey ahead of me. It is pouring rain out right now. You can probably hear it. Pouring out. And I got a long journey ahead of me. On top of that, I get a phone call from somebody close to me that they woke up with chills, not feeling well. They're thinking maybe they got this wabaka that's going around the world. A bundle of great news. No, I'm not in a mood this morning to put up with constant stupidity, because that's what I normally deal with in everyday life. Not today. So I'm asking my audience, which thankfully the majority of my audience, my amplified unit, they're actually smart wrestling fans. They actually take the time to stop, think about what is going on, and make the best factual decision. We don't just play favorites. We don't just put our favorite wrestler into our profile picture and go to war for them. What do you mean they're not the greatest, BC? I love them. Don't talk trash. No. I don't care if you love your favorite wrestler or you like them a lot. You think they're the greatest. You don't want to hear anything about them. That goes against your opinion or thought process. But can we please, for a damn day, for a damn moment, just be honest? Honest! Roman Reigns is not a great wrestler. He's mediocre. The guy does not cut good promos. Not even decent most of the time. Tamina Snuka cannot wrestle. She couldn't 10 years ago. She can't now. Becky Lynch was never the face of the company. That's spewing stupidity to the nth degree. And Alexa Bliss defeating Asuka in 5 minutes with a simplistic DDT is atrocious and tragic. Let's just call it what it is. I don't even mind Alexa Bliss. This is a pro Sasha Banks channel. We love Sasha Banks on this channel. So for me to say I actually don't mind Alexa Bliss, there is a place for Alexa Bliss in WWE. There's times I catch flack from my own Sasha crew. My own boss people. BC, you can't like Alexa, man. You know the history and the feud between Sasha and Alexa. Not even in the ring. Backstage. And I do understand that, but I'm factual, man. I know what somebody brings to a company. Alexa Bliss does bring something. Should she be thrusted into spotlight after spotlight, main event after main event, title opportunity after title opportunity? Hell no! Alexa Bliss isn't a damn good wrestler to that level. But she is. It's part of Vince's blonde bombshell brigade. There's no way around it. Do you honestly think if Alexa Bliss didn't look like she looks, that she's getting all of those championships? And the diehard Alexa Bliss fans will say, yeah, BC, have you seen her? She's an amazing wrestler. Yeah, I have seen her. She's not amazing. There's 2 things I do really well in this world. Business and pro wrestling. Dissecting pro wrestling in the most factual, truth-based way imaginable. I'm just great at it. I have been since I was a little amplified boy, and I am now as an amplified man. I've always been great at pro wrestling. I've been around it my whole life. I've been in that ring. I've taken the bumps. I've traveled with the boys. I was one of the boys. You don't know the half of it. Most of you. I lived the life, and when it came time to decide, is this something I wanted to do, I took my old football injuries into consideration. I took the grueling schedule. I took other things that I wanted to do in life, like other forms of entertainment, and I decided against doing such. That doesn't mean my passion and my amplification for this sport, for this form of entertainment, for this one-of-a-kind, unique thing we call pro wrestling, that doesn't mean that flame ever burned out or faded away. My love for it is still as strong today as it's ever been. And I'm just great at calling out all things pro wrestling, whether it's character, story, feud, overall arc of any development. I know where it is heading 10 days before it actually gets there. Don't try to tell me somebody is great at something when they're just not. When there is better. When there are people that should have things and accomplishments, and they have jack shit. Somebody like Asuka, who's sitting there with one singles championship on the main roster. I'm going to say this again. She's been there for a couple of years now. She has one singles championship. You probably forgot about it because I know Vince didn't give it the time of day. And she has one tag team championship reign that she's currently in right now. You wouldn't know that though because they barely have them defend the championships, and on top of that they are always placed into irrelevancy, and I am talking about even when Kairi Sane was not injured for those several weeks. And by the way, don't get it twisted. The only reason Asuka and Kairi got those championships was because AEW put their first ever women's championship on their Japanese talent, Rio. 4 days later, when Asuka and Kairi beforehand were in obscurity, 4 days after Rio won that championship, Vince had no choice but to put titles on his Japanese talent, Asuka and Kairi. And ever since, you have to check 4 times a week to see who even has the tag team titles for the women. And you know I'm telling the truth. Because even with the titles, Asuka's built and booked into obscurity and irrelevancy. One singles title on the main roster. Alexa Bliss, if you're wondering, 5 singles titles. Alexa Bliss has held the Raw Women's Championship 3 times. SmackDown, twice. Asuka, once, between the 2 of them. And this is Asuka, man. You see how she was booked in Japan, a straight beast. Asuka was Ronda Rousey of pro wrestling. She comes over to NXT and she dominates like a beast, just like she was in Japan. Asuka was the Ronda Rousey of NXT. She not only can wrestle ground game tactic-wise, but she's the queen of strong style. And then she gets to the main roster. And we all said even Vince McMahon can't ruin Asuka, right? Even the old man in Stamford, Connecticut. Even the dumb schmuck that he is. There's no way you can ruin Asuka. You just gotta book her simplistically right down the middle of what she is. The queen of strong style and a damn great technician. And just watch her collect championships like Sonic the Hedgehog collects his little gold rings. Don't overthink this. Don't overanalyze it. Let Asuka be Asuka. She'll captivate the world. Here we are a few years later. 1 championship. And little Alexa Bliss, who, by the way, in the 3 years she's been on the main roster, at least 1 full year, if you collected up all of her hiatuses and time off from injury, it equals over 1 complete year. There are times where she was gone for months, come back for a month or 2, gone with another concussion or an arm injury. When she came back, her spot was warmed up, waiting for her the entire time. And you're telling me it has nothing to do with looks or being part of the blonde bombshell brigade for Vince. You're telling me it's because her talent is so damn immaculate, that's why she has all those championships. But Asuka doesn't have any of that talent. And don't tell me Alexa's great on the mic and Asuka isn't, so that's why. BS. Asuka was more entertaining a few weeks ago on commentary, screaming about God knows what. I'll take that over fucking moment of blisses that lead to nothing. 6 minutes of all of us collectively around the world taking a nap. It is fucking pouring out right now. I'm in a fucking car about to travel a couple of states. I got loved ones dropping from this Wabaka BS. I'm not in the mood to talk opinions today. I just want to talk about facts. Is that okay? Can we all collectively agree that Asuka losing from a fucking horrible DDT to Alexa Bliss is just fucking atrocious? You're telling me not only can Asuka not defeat Alexa Bliss, but Asuka can't even last 5 minutes with Alexa Bliss? 5 minutes! Asuka cannot beat Alexa freaking Bliss, and somebody's going, well, Alexa had the win, BC, because that's how they're getting to a tag title match for WrestleMania. Are you listening to yourself? You're trying to justify the old man's actions. At no time growing up in any era did a challenger get to the champion in a championship match by actually defeating the champion beforehand. That is dumb as fuck. You're telling the world we've already seen it, A, and B, they've already beaten them. So where's the payoff? Nobody wanted to see Shawn Michaels beat Bret Hart before WrestleMania 12 to get his match with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12. Right? Nobody wanted to see the British Bulldog defeat Bret Hart before SummerSlam 92 just to get the Intercontinental title match with Bret Hart at SummerSlam 92. I hope this makes sense. Growing up, I never wanted to see the challenger beating the champion already to get us to the championship match. It doesn't make sense. But today's fan has turned into a sheep, and anything McMahon does, they buy into it, and they try to justify it. So then they come across a knowledgeable channel like this one, and they try to go, BC, they had to do it, man. They had to get to the championship match. She had to beat Asuka, BC. What do you mean? You could have gotten creative and found a fucking way to put her there. Or here's a better thought, a better option. Maybe if you had your shit together, I don't care what's going on in the world, you are a billion-dollar conglomerate company with hundreds of fucking writers and supposed geniuses at the helm. Maybe you should have had your WrestleMania card ironed out way ahead of time. Maybe you shouldn't be throwing championship matches 7 to 10 days before the actual event. There's a crazy concept. But I'm overanalyzing it. I'm over-critiquing. I'm the overly negative one. Or am I just being smart and calling out bullshit? This is what has happened Asuka's entire... If this was just one time, guys, maybe I could let it slide. Still, a horrible DDT within 5 minutes and Asuka losing to Alexa does not sit well with me anyway. But this is what has happened in the past couple of years since Asuka's been on the main roster. Her streak ended at WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair, and I wouldn't have minded that if they had something for both afterwards. They had nothing for Asuka, and it was clear they had nothing for Charlotte. So it was unjustified. It was just because Vince saw Charlotte as the next Nature Boy Ric Flair of the women's division. That's his blonde golden girl, and she was going to take and end the streak. And then I saw Asuka lose several times to Carmella for no reason. A couple of times in a row to Carmella. No reason that I can think of other than, hey, it's Vince's blonde bombshell birthday. And then Alexa Bliss. She can't even beat fucking Alexa Bliss. But it's not just that. When Asuka and Kairi should have won the tag titles. This is before Rio won that AEW championship in AEW. When Asuka and Kairi should have won the titles, the Iconics were beating them. Right on national live TV, the Iconics are beating Asuka and Kairi. This is the type of booking that I don't forget. The old man in Stamford wants you to forget it, and I hope you don't. because that's how he wants to turn you into sheep. And then you come up with your little wooden bowl every time you're hungry and you go, please, sir, can I have some more? And he's like, of course you can. Here's some more bullshit. Not me. I'm not eating up on that bullshit. I have seen this booking for Asuka time and time again, and I've had enough. You look at her win percentage, it's in the fucking 70s. You look at Alexa Bliss's, it's in the 30s. So you're saying BC, her winning percentage is in the 70s, Alexa's in the 30s. So what are you talking about? I'm talking about the big fucking moments. What do you think made Bray Wyatt irrelevant? The guy is one of the best promos in the business. Bray Wyatt, for a big boy, is a damn good wrestler a boot. So you're saying he's a good wrestler and he's great on the mic. He's got the look. Bray Wyatt is a fucking bona fide superstar. Why did he never truly make it? Because he could never win the big ones. So you can make Asuka a 90+% in the winning column. It wouldn't make a difference if you're constantly having her lose to Carmella, and Charlotte, and the Iconics, and Alexa Bliss, and Mandy Rose. A 90% in the win column would not help if you're not booking her in those big moments correctly. I have seen people ruined by that type of booking. It's the same thing as 50-50 booking. You just took another avenue to get there. That is your tag team champion, supposedly. And again, the way they've been booked, you wouldn't even know they're tag team champions. But that's your champion getting pinned in 5 minutes by a fucking DDT. This is Asuka. You had to go to war with her if you wanted to beat her. And here we are in 2020. And Vince doesn't care. He's like, yeah, give him 4.5 minutes. Have the Japanese one lose by a DDT. What? Vince, you know that Japanese one. You know her name is Asuka. Yeah, she's still here. She hasn't gone to AEW yet, huh? Yeah, well, put her out there. Have her lose. Vince, you sure you want her? All right, we'll pencil her in for a 20-minute SmackDown match. 20 minutes? Give her 4.5 minutes! Vince, again, this is Asuka. You sure you want her losing in 4.5 minutes? Oh, man. And again, there's people out there that are fine with it. It's just pro wrestling, BC. Relax. Well, what do you mean it's just the show is over and you're clicking on my video, so obviously you love this more than just the show itself. If you're listening to my words right now, you love pro wrestling, you love WWE, and you want to see it succeed. You're not one of those people that want to see it get destroyed. You want Vince to pull his head out of his ass. And if you're listening to me, well, this isn't Monday Night Raw, this isn't SmackDown, this isn't Wrestlemania. It's a fucking YouTube channel with a knowledgeable person talking about pro wrestling. So if you're listening to this, and if you made it this far into this vid, then you love this. So don't tell me I'm taking it too far. Because we're all doing the same thing right now. We're talking pro wrestling after the shows. I'm just calling out bullshit. So nobody wants to do anymore. We all want to pick our favorites and not talk any smack about it. This is a pro Sasha Banks channel. I love Sasha Banks. And if you followed me the last 3 years that I've had this channel, there are many times where I called out the bad booking of Sasha Banks or just Sasha's character becoming stale or just BS. And I take flack from that. From my fellow Sasha fans. When she was with Bayley the first time, the Boss and Hug Connection, I think they were called, or some BS like that, I hated it. Couldn't stand it. And I talked shit about it every single time I made a vid. I took a lot of flack. But just because I'm a fan of somebody doesn't mean I'm going to hide behind that. Or pop them up in a profile picture and talk nothing but positivity. I have to be truthful, otherwise I shouldn't have a channel. If I'm not being truthful, then my words hold no weight. Nobody would you see the thousands of people that listen to me? I wouldn't have them if I didn't speak truth. Because liars and BSers get exposed quickly. I've done it. I've done the exposing. There's no BS. Thought processes can change. Opinions can change. No doubt. I've done that in the past. I've said one thing and changed my mind. Absolutely. But I've never lied. I always am the most truthful. And that's what I take great satisfaction on in this channel, on this channel. It doesn't matter what your opinion is this morning. I really hope that we can all cut the bullshit and see something like what we saw last night. A 5-minute Alexa Bliss victory over Asuka via DDT. Your champion. Just to get us to a tag team championship match. I hope we all can agree that that's the type of booking that ruins people. But I guess you could say Asuka was already fucking halfway there anyway. Even with a fucking championship. And then you step back into the history books and you look at, if it was all to end right now for both superstars, Lord forbid, you never want that. But if they were just to retire right now, Alexa Bliss has 5 singles main roster titles. Asuka has 1. 1! You're telling me, even if you honestly are so delusional that you think Alexa Bliss is just better than Asuka in every area, you're telling me that she should be in that many title opportunities, and not just opportunities, but she should have won 5 titles singly. And by the way, Alexa's even held the tag titles that Asuka's holding right now. Alexa has held them all. And again, most several times. And even when she isn't in a title picture, she's thrusted into a main storyline and spotlight. Just like a Lacey Evans always is. Charlotte has always been. Carmella has been repeatedly. It just sucks. It sucks when you watch pro wrestling outside of WWE. And you saw Asuka before she was even in NXT. And you knew how good she was. And it just sucks for a knowledgeable wrestling fan like yours truly to watch where she is now in 2020. That's what I mean. If you're a true knowledgeable wrestling fan, you understand my words this morning. And you know how heartbreaking it is to see someone like Asuka, an actual pro wrestler, lose any type of match in 5 minutes. Even if it was against fucking Shayna Baszler. Any match in 5 minutes via a DDT would just be heartbreaking to watch. But to know that it's fucking Alexa Bliss. Like, really, that's how bad you're gonna do Asuka dirty? I digress. There's a whole fucking 2-hour show to go over. I'm going to go through this as fast as possible so you guys can get on with your daily life and I can get on with mine. I know we got a lot to do, or at least I know I do. So I'll end that opening monologue right there. You know, and since somebody's out there, Beasley, you're taking it too serious. Relax. It's pro wrestling, man. I know. I'm fucking nuts. What can I say? I love this shit so much. SmackDown opened up last night, March 27, 2020. Segment 1 went to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Speaking of, this was the women's title build for WrestleMania. As aforementioned in several vids I put up earlier this week, Dana Brooke has been removed from the Mania match due to possible Wabaka symptoms. Thus, the match is now an elimination fatal 5-way match. Sasha Banks and Bayley hit the ring last night first. They begin a promo that is cut off by Lacey Evans. Then Naomi and then Tamina come down. Tamina takes out both Naomi and Lacey Evans. Banks and Bayley begin an attack on a defenseless Naomi, and when they turn around, Tamina is waiting for them. Sasha and Bay want no part of Tamina. They hightail it. So the attempt here is to make us believe that Tamina Snuka is an actual threat. That is laughable and delusional. Tamina Snuka has not been a threat for 10 years now. Tamina Snuka has barely even been seen in 10 years. But again, I get those delusional dipshits that try to say, BC, she's actually good. It's just bad booking, man. Or I get this one. Tamina Snuka deserves this, BC. She's been there for 10 years. I'm sorry, where's the participation trophies? I didn't know we were handing them out. How about she doesn't get those opportunities because A, she sucks, and B, she's never around because she's injured? Oh no, I'm sorry. Those are facts. We don't do them in pro wrestling anymore. Now, if you've been there for a long time, you get a participation trophy. BC, let her have this moment. Let her have this moment. Motherfucker, she shouldn't even be on the roster. She's taking up a spot from somebody who can actually wrestle. Tamina Snuka cannot cut a promo if her life depended on it. In a good wrestling match over 6 minutes, good luck. 3 minutes and I'm giving you a participation trophy. But there's people out there that love Tamina and just hide behind their own delusional opinion. Because that's what they want to believe. She's taking up a roster spot. Do you guys realize that? Somebody who is a damn good wrestler in this world, somebody like Evilise, could be in WWE right now. Do you realize we could be getting Evilise matches? But no. Nope. Do you realize Melina had to cut a deal with another independent promotion because WWE didn't want Melina back. Do you realize Melina can still put on damn good wrestling matches? We could be getting that. No, we're getting Tamina fucking Snuka. And there's a jackass out there in the world going, man, she deserves this, BC. And there's a bigger delusional dipshit that's saying she's actually good. And B, C, amplified. I'm supposed to sit back, look at these opinions and go, oh, okay, I guess my words are just opinion. You know, everyone has their own. I'm supposed to say that. I'm supposed to suspend my knowledge. I'm supposed to dumb myself down for other people. But when you have a successful channel like mine, you actually see this type of shit, guys. I'm not just making this up. These are the delusional things that I see in this community. Mind-boggling. And now we're supposed to... Now Tamina Snuka is the big threat of the women's division. She just came back fucking from who knows where. I don't even know where she was hiding for the last fucking year plus. I know she's injured all the time. I know they never have anything for her. Don't want to put her in the middle of the ring because it's just going to be a bad fucking segment. Suits and ties know that. So here she comes. Maybe she was playing around in the McDonald's Playhouse for the last year. Who knows? Playing around in aisle 4 of the fucking Home Depot. Picking out some paint schemes. Playing double dutch at the local fucking high school. Who knows what she was doing in the past? But she comes back and now all of a sudden she's the dominant threat. And this is probably just setting up Nia Jax. Nia will fucking show up at WrestleMania or something, and maybe you'll have Nia and Tamina back together as a devastating duo. And I know, that's when I'll get, Nia deserves this. Nia Jax is amazing, BC. Oh, you gotta love this booking. Up next, Drew Gulick takes on Shinsegae Nakamura. Don't blink, it's gonna be over. Gulick defeats Nakamura in just over 3 minutes with a roll-up jackknife cover. So then Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn for the IC title is announced for WrestleMania. First of all, don't you guys remember, any of you out there, when Intercontinental title matches, championship matches in general, they were made months in advance for an event like WrestleMania? Don't you miss those times? Remember when a championship match was built over months? Especially the IC title. I always loved the build for IC title matches over the years, because it would just take months and it would lead you to an awesome WrestleMania or SummerSlam. And now here we are just days before WrestleMania and they're thrusting an IC title match last minute. You gotta love that shit. That shows you how off the tracks this company is. And then on top of that, they have Shinsuke Nakamura, the king of strong style. You look what he did in Japan. You look at what he did in NXT. They have this guy losing in 3 minutes. At least it's to a good wrestler like Drew Gulick. At least. But that's what I mean about the old man being delusional. And the bookers of this company not knowing how to book. That's a problem. If you work at McDonald's but you don't know how to flip a burger, you shouldn't be working there. If you work at a grocery store but you don't know how to fucking stock the groceries, you probably wouldn't be working there. And you're a professional wrestling booker. You're in the creative department. You're the owner of the company, a supposed genius. All of these minds together, and nobody thought to think for 1 second, maybe having a guy like Nakamura lose in 3 minutes by a roll-up, maybe that's not good booking. But no, the company just doesn't give a fuck, or they're so far gone, they're not even acknowledging this. And that's what I mean about ruining individuals along the way. They have extremely awesome talent in this company. They just don't utilize them at all. Forget the fact that they just don't want people to become larger than the company. So up front, they don't even want to build superstars. But on top of that, they're doing the opposite. They're actually ruining them. You look how Bray Wyatt lost to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia on a Thursday afternoon when kids were in school and grown-ups were at work. And you have one of the best character in pro wrestling in recent history, and you have him losing on a Thursday afternoon in just a couple of minutes to a 53-year-old Goldberg. Why would you do that to one of the hottest characters, the hottest character in recent times? This is what this company does. So anyway, I'm watching Shinsegae Nakamura get beat in 3 minutes. Oh, just fucking great. Backstage, we see an altercation between Otis and Dolph. A last-minute match is made for WrestleMania between Otis and Dolph. Mandy Rose will be at ringside. She doesn't want them fighting over her. But Dolph says, don't worry, I'm going to end this at WrestleMania. And Mandy Rose laughs. Okay. So, another last-minute Mania match because nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Certainly not Vince. He knows a lot of matches have been compromised because people are dropping like flies from this Wabaka that's going around the globe. So he probably has to add more matches to take up for the matches that are going to be fucking gone. Now, there's something that I did like on this show, and that was Elias up next cutting a song on Baron Corbin. I didn't care for that. I tuned out for that. I always do for Elias' songs. It's just, it's old and redundant at this point. Let's just get to the fucking point. So after Elias is done cutting the song on Baron Corbin, and by the way, he's up on that platform that they have at the Performance Center. It's at least 10 feet in the air. I want to say 12 to 15 feet. But I don't know. I didn't gauge it that good. But it's at least 10, could be up to 15 feet. It's a tall platform that's usually behind the commentary table. And Elias is up there cutting that song. And after it, Corbin actually attacks Elias on the platform. After a scepter shot to the dome piece, Elias falls that good 12 to 15 feet. At least to the concrete. Finally, they're using the PC to their advantage, and I loved it. That's what I've been asking for the past couple weeks. You have the entire PC. Use it. That was awesome, man. Baron Corbin, the king of WWE, became the Lion King last night. You remember Mufasa and Scar? Remember the scene where Scar takes out Mufasa? And Mufasa takes that big, long fall? That's what they did last night. They kind of recreated that with WWE's king, residential king, Baron Corbin. And he put the scepter to the dome piece of Elias, and Elias tried to hang on, but he ended up falling. And I know some people are going, BC, that was too cinematic, man. I didn't like the way it was too overly produced. Please, I love that. It's taped. They're at the PC. This is the type of shit we need. Get creative. Tell us stories. This is the shit we love about WWE, man. Growing up, I used to see Papa Shango casting voodoo spells on people, and I loved it. I never stopped and said, it's too cinematic. This is too fake. I loved it, man. They're telling stories with characters that are so unique and full of mystique that you are drawn to them. So love that Papa Shango voodoo shit. Growing up, I used to see a dude come out of a casket. He used to tell me he was a dead man. Today we know him as The Undertaker. We love him. I used to love that. Pro wrestling can be a bit silly and quirky at times. Just do it correctly. I love this, man. He tried to hang on. He falls. They had a second camera shot where he's just whizzing by like Mufasa in Lion King. Just falling. Almost like it was 100 feet. Absolutely loved that, man. Give me more of that. Don't be afraid to spend a little bit of time and energy. Put some thought and creativity into what you're doing. Please. It'll pay off in the long run. Elias and Baron Corbin is set for WrestleMania, although we're hearing that Elias is yet another sumbitch that might not have filmed for WrestleMania, because he may have now went down from this Wabaka. Just a lot of superstars are going down. We don't even have the full list. There was actually talk that Cesaro and Asuka weren't able to film anything for Mania because of this Wabaka. That is not true from what I'm hearing. It was retracted about a few hours later, but too many schmucks that don't know what they're talking about decided to be the journalist that they're not, or the podcaster that they're not, and they decided to leak out stuff that's absolutely true. We don't have confirmation on that. In fact, the last retraction was that Asuka and Cesaro did not miss the WrestleMania tapings. But a lot of people just took that news story and just started spewing that out. That's not what we're hearing at all, actually. Anyway, we'll see if Elias actually made it over to WrestleMania's tapings. And then up next was Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And this ended hour number 1. Nikki Cross is on commentary. It's her turn to play annoying cheerleader this week. We saw this with Asuka and the Street Bums last week. Clearly this is done so the audience at home isn't focusing on the lack of noise from 0 people in the crowd. At least Asuka and Nikki Cross were funny as fuck. Nikki Cross was pretty damn funny last night. The Street Bums, Montez Ford and Doughboy, they need to never do commentary ever again. I'd rather be hit by a car than hear them on a microphone ever again. The match itself between Alexa Bliss and Asuka was just sad, as I aforementioned. Alexa beat Asuka in a legit 5 minutes. Do you guys remember when Asuka was an undefeated force for women's wrestling not long ago? Yeah. Now here we are in 2020. She can't even beat Alexa. She can't even last 5 minutes. Awesome. Hour number 2 begins with a replay of Triple H versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. The total replay lasted 23 minutes to kick us off into the second hour. So a good part of the second hour was done by the time that replay lasted. Now, a lot of people are asking BC, why are they still hyping Roman Reigns and Goldberg? I thought Roman Reigns is now out of WrestleMania. That's the latest that we're hearing. Roman Reigns is absolutely out, guys, but you just got to use some common sense here. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out that the SmackDown tapings were filmed before WrestleMania. We found out that Roman Reigns informed WWE, or vice versa. We don't have all the details. But Roman Reigns was pulled from the WrestleMania main event match, that title match with Goldberg. He was pulled from it 24 hours before the actual WrestleMania match taping was supposed to drop. So my point is, SmackDown was taped beforehand. So they probably already had the advertised Goldberg Roman Reigns face-to-face that's advertised next Friday. They probably already had that filmed. So there's no way you could just lose all that content. So they're going with everything that they had in place, business as usual. And then they'll probably film some type of angle next week where Roman, something happens to him and he can't go to Mania. So that's obviously where that's going to lead to. But a lot of people are wondering why they keep promoting Roman Reigns. Common sense, guys. They obviously filmed SmackDown next week beforehand, and they have something planned with Goldberg and Roman for next week. That was filmed before the decision, no matter whose decision it was, before Roman was pulled from Mania. Then we went into a Firefly Funhouse, where Ramblin' Rabbit lost yet another one of his lives when he was put in a blender and shredded into carrot juice. No! We lost Ramblin' Rabbit again last night. You guys know what that means. We must now mourn the loss of Ramblin' Rabbit with the 10-bell salute. Alright, so after the tragedy with Ramblin' Rabbit, Bray officially challenges Cena to a Firefly Funhouse match. I told you guys in this week's podcast, that's why I tell you to listen to every minute of these vids, listen to every minute of these podcasts, because they're filled with a lot of new information. I told you guys that Cena and Wyatt was actually filmed in some type of a warehouse, and it's supposed to be in movie format, in a cinematic approach. So this is not going to be a normal match. With John Cena doing movies now, he thought that was a good idea. This obviously fits the Bray Wyatt character, and it is now a Firefly Funhouse match. So The Firefly Funhouse, yet again, was the most entertaining part of the show with the Elias and Baron Corbin segment. So, I'm not shocked. Bray Wyatt always delivers. The main event was Miz and Morrison on commentary for our main event between Usos and The New Day for the 1,457th time that they have met. The winner supposedly goes on to WrestleMania to face Miz and Morrison for those straps. But we're also hearing that Miz is taking out from this Wabaka and that The Miz did not end up participating in the WrestleMania tapings. So how are you going to have a championship match then? Well, there was a replacement. There's things that are going on. I don't want to spoil anything. But there was a lot of shifts in that match. But you knew, guys. You knew. They're not leaving one of these teams off. WWE was not actually going to think about this. They weren't going to take the time. So if you thought for a moment, oh, this is going to be fun. Who are they going to have win this? Who's going to go on to take on the champions? Guys, you have to know by now, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is simplistic Vince McMahon, nonsensical BS booking at its finest. You knew this whole thing was worthless and meaningless because at the end they were going to find a way to have the Usos and the New Day both going to WrestleMania to fight for the championships. And sure enough, that's what happened. Miz and Morrison end up getting involved. And immediately, Cole didn't even say one team was disqualified. Immediately, Cole goes, this match, the referee had no other choice but to call it out, he said. And I'm like, whoa, you made that decision immediately, Cole? You didn't want to wait for the referee's final decision? Because Miz and Morrison attacked one team first. So that would be a DQ for the other team. But Cole said something like the referee had no choice but to throw this match out. And he said it immediately after the bell rang. So that's when you knew the decision was made, man. The Usos and the New Day were both going into that WrestleMania match. That's what I mean. No thought goes into this. No creativity whatsoever. It's going to be the year 2027, and we're still going to see the Usos and the New Day in tag team title matches because the tag team division has nobody else relevant. We're going to see the same fucking teams 7 years from now. So Cole announces, but by the way, just as fast as Cole announced that the match was thrown out, like 60 seconds later, he's already announcing that he's getting word that it's going to be a ladder match, triple threat match at WrestleMania for the titles. So it's going to be a ladder. All of this was done in about 60 seconds. Michael Cole knows that the match was thrown out. Michael Cole knows that's going to be a ladder match. No, this wasn't thought of 6 minutes before the match even took place. So yet another title match put together just days before WrestleMania. Just like the Intercontinental title match, the United States title match is still up in the fucking air. Nobody knows what's going on with it because Andrade was fucking down and out and under the weather as well. We don't know if that's fucking Wabaka. Rey Mysterio, we already know he was supposed to be going for the title. He already was in quarantine for the Wabaka. All the championships, if it wasn't the two heavyweight, the Universal and the heavyweight, all the other championships were just decided in the last week. Most of them within the last 24 hours. And that's what I mean about this company being so far off the fucking track that I don't know if it can even be put back on. I'm the Amplified Man. That's your SmackDown. I'm losing my fucking voice already. Let me say that again. I'm the Amplified Man. There you go. Much better. That's your SmackDown review and reaction for, what was it? Friday, March 27th, 2020. We have one more SmackDown to go. That'll be the go-home show next week. And then it's WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday. This is the weirdest WrestleMania season ever. Doesn't feel like WrestleMania. To me, it is not WrestleMania. We're going to watch this. I think we're all going to tune in initially thinking this is going to be a train wreck of epic proportions. Maybe some things will surprise us, right? I don't even know what to think. I got to hit the road. It stopped pouring out at least. It's still raining, but I apologize if you guys heard just way too many raindrops. When I say we're on location filming this, we're on location. But as long as I got a microphone and a way to record, you guys are going to get my WWE thoughts, my AEW, my NXT, even New Japan when they pull out some crazy shit. You guys are going to get my pro wrestling thoughts, man, as long as I can somehow get them out to you guys. Much love and respect. And I'll see you guys next week. The last full week before we get into Wait, is Raw the go-home show too? Yeah, that is the go-home show, isn't it? So Raw's got the go-home show too next week. Yeah, so this is it, guys. It's going to be a big week next week. I'm sure news is going to be... We're going to be flooded with so much news. There's going to be a lot to talk about. Until then, think, be, live. Amplified. And I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Check you later.